Yo, 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 this your boy Thorough. This is the My Dogs podcast. I just created me an intro, man. Just tell me what y'all think about it. I'm trying. Forgive me over here. But I got a special guest today for y'all. I got a special guest. Let me bring my guy in right now. Tyler Johnson. What's going on?
How's it going, my friend?
Oh, nothing. It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. What you think about that little thing I put together?
Hey, I like it. Seriously, people think you need some long intro. I like something short and sweet. As long as you're under a minute, it's good. I like that. That kind of gets you pumped up for the show. So I like it.
Before that, I had it had the 30-second countdown. So I got rid of the 30-second countdown and I added that. So I still got an intro though, but I still got an intro. So I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I might be doing too much. I'm new to this. As we was talking about the about it when the games is not starting, it's kind of hard to come up with stuff. So I was going to start my podcast a little bit later, but I said I need to get into it, start getting some of these fans before the season started. So I'm still trying to work on myself. I looked up to you and your guys and what y'all doing. I like what y'all doing over there. Tell the My Dog podcast who you are, where to find you, and everything.
Yeah, for sure. So pretty much you guys can find me on Twitter. That is where I interact with a lot of people, have a lot of fun on Twitter. You guys can give me a follow, and my name is actually on the screen at T_Johnson_TJ. I do a lot. So talk Browns on the Faithful Dogs podcast. I talk Ohio State football on the Scarlet and Gray podcast, and that show is kicking off here Monday night at 7:00 as season 2 is going to begin, and we are going to be a year-long podcast basically once that gets started. And also, I am a weekly contributor right now on Sports for CLE, which is part of Cleveland.com. And you can find all of the shows, the Faithful Dogs podcast and the Scarlet and Gray podcast, on the Network 216 YouTube channel. So stay busy, that's for sure. And I appreciate the opportunity to come on. And always down to talk some Browns, especially now that we finally have some football back.
Okay, well, we're going to get into some Browns talk, but I gotta pay homage to my boys, and I got to show you that other intro that I was working with.
Let's see
My Dogs podcast, so we'll be right back.
First, I want to say thank you to Dee and Jimmy Haslam and the Haslam family for giving me this awesome opportunity to be the quarterback of this historical organization in the Cleveland Browns.
Watson looking for the edge. Watson is going to stroll in for the Cleveland touchdown.
All right, that was it. What you think?
I like that. I really like that. There's a lot of good. That was a lot of work to put into that too. That's sweet. I like it a lot personally. I really do.
Because I liked it. I liked yours, and that's when I inboxed you. I'm like, who did yours and all that stuff, and you told me, and I said, nah, I put some work in, and eventually I came up with that. That wasn't my first one. You should have saw my first one. That was a little bit more awful, but we got limited we got limited time. We only gonna be on here about for a half an hour. We just want to get into this Hall of Fame game and inducting our guy Joe Thomas. And I mean, What are you looking to see tonight? Tonight, what is you looking forward to?
What I'm looking forward to, I want to see some of these guys that are on the roster bubble or right now essentially off the roster. I want to see how they perform tonight. Now, there's a couple guys that really come to mind. Demetric Felton is on the roster bubble trying to make the Browns as a third running back. They moved him back to running back. I want to see how he performs. I need to see how David Bell looks tonight because there are some fans saying he's on the roster bubble. And I just think that personally, I just completely disagree because the guy's a rookie. When he played last year, he actually was the 5th highest rookie when it came to creating separation against defenses. He didn't play a lot due to injury, but also he's only 22 years old. He's younger than Cedric Tillman, so who we drafted this year in the 3rd round. So I want to see some guys like that. I want to see the linebacking core. I want to see Tony Fields. He's trying to make the roster. Undrafted free agent linebacker Muhammad Diabite. I want to see how these linebackers look because there's a lot of players that aren't playing tonight. And so that gives an opportunity to these guys that are trying to make this roster. You know who else is trying to make the roster? Kellen Mond. I don't think Kellen Mond is going to make it because you drafted Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and I would be shocked unless he looked like the worst quarterback ever that they would actually cut DTR. So, but Kellen Mond's auditioning tonight for the other 32 teams in the NFL. And if he can put together a decent performance, we're forgetting he's only 24 years old. The Browns kept him on the practice squad after claiming him at the end of last preseason. So clearly they saw something, or else they wouldn't have kept him and protected him on the practice squad. So that's what I want to see. These young guys, I want to see how hungry they are for this opportunity, and I want to see them capture that moment and make a name for themselves tonight. Even though it's against backups, you have to stake your claim for why you need to be a member of the Cleveland Browns this season.
Yeah, but so how many quarterbacks what quarterbacks do you think is going to play tonight?
Kellen Mond, it sounds like he's going to play the first half of this game, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson is going to play the second half, is what it sounds like. The Browns have 4 quarterbacks on the roster. Deshaun Watson's not going to suit up. Josh Dobbs is not going to suit up. It's going to be all Kellen Mond and all Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Okay, now with those two being the ones that's going to start, do you think that's because we are deep at wide receiver with those quarterbacks that's probably not going to make the team? Are we going to really be able to evaluate our wide receivers with those type of quarterbacks, or do you believe in these quarterbacks?
I believe that Dorian Thompson-Robinson is going to look pretty solid tonight. I don't know what to expect of Kellen Mond because I haven't seen the guy play football. So outside, I remember him at Texas A&M. I remember him being kind of a hit or miss guy. He could make some big plays. Other times he made some plays that made you go, what is this guy doing? So I think Dalen Baldwin, undrafted free agent that the Browns added to the practice squad last season. Austin Watkins Jr., the Browns added him a couple weeks ago. I want to see some of those guys. And the reality is they're not going to get reps from Deshaun Watson and Josh Dobbs more than likely. They have to prove that they deserve to move up the depth chart. And that's what an opportunity like this is for them. I get what you're saying because can you really evaluate guys like this when they might not get good quarterback play? Well, that's Andrew Berry's job. Kevin Stefanski, they have to do that. Can this guy do something with mediocre quarterback play? Can he make plays with a mediocre quarterback? Is this someone we can keep on the roster in case a guy like Amari Cooper gets hurt or Cedric Tillman, David Bell, whoever it might be? Can they step up and contribute with Deshaun Watson as quarterback? That's what you have to find out from not only tonight but the rest of the preseason. You're going to see some of these guys on the back end of the roster if they're getting a lot of playing time. Not tonight, but if you see that in the 3rd game and in the 4th game, what that tells you, there's a good chance they're going to get cut. That's what that tells you. So read into who's playing tonight in the 3rd and 4th quarter, because that tells you who's on the outside looking in to make the roster.
Yeah, who on the bubble?
Exactly. Because they're and this is going to change too. Like, I mean, for instance, the thing that would be a little worrying for me, I'm a Demetric Felton fan. I've always liked Demetric Felton. I feel like the Browns have never put him in his preferred position, and that just makes that a whole lot more difficult.
Yeah.
If Demetric Felton is playing in the fourth quarter, he's probably going to get cut. But I don't think that's going to be the case because Demetric Felton is probably going to be the running back the Browns start, at least in the first half. Maybe I want to see if it's Demetric Felton or if it's John Kelly. That's what I really want to see. But it's going to be a battle tonight. Again, everyone's like, well, the stars aren't playing. I mean, that's true. Yeah. But this is the type of game, like us as podcasters, we need to watch and really see how much can any of these guys make an impact if they are on the Browns 53-man roster. Because something we have to remember, there's no multiple week roster cuts. You're going to have about 900 total players that are going to all be cut right when the preseason ends.
Yep.
So it's going to be a free-for-all then to add players. I really want to see some of these guys that are given it's preseason, but undrafted free agents. These guys have to do whatever it takes to make this roster. I want to see some hard hits. I want to see some guys make plays, even if the quarterback play is not great. I want to see Demetric Felton break off a long run, even if the offensive line isn't performing very well. You need to see things like that from some of these guys, or else they're not going to have a chance to make the roster.
Yeah, then just thinking about it, if everybody's third and fourth streams is playing, they all should be on the same level. So
exactly.
I mean, so if you playing bad against a third and fourth stream, yeah, you need to go. you ain't ready to see the first and second string people. If you can't beat these guys.
Exactly. See, and that's the thing too, is the other thing we got to remember, not only are they competing for roster spots, but these are guys that are competing to be on the practice squad. The Browns last year kept a lot of guys from their preseason roster that they cut. They kept them on the practice squad. That's something to keep in mind as we go through the preseason, because watch how, for instance, a battle for the fourth safety spot between Ronnie Hickman, undrafted free agent of Ohio State, undrafted free agent of Ohio State, Tanner McAllister. You also have D'Anthony Bell, who is the first undrafted free agent under Andrew Berry to get a roster spot. But there are other guys on this roster. Zaire Mitchell-Payton stands out, the tight end that used to play for Notre Dame College in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
There are guys like that. They cut and added back to the practice squad. So that tells you they clearly saw something in these guys. Watch that tonight, because some of these guys that are on the back end of the roster are going to be on the practice squad. Or the Browns are going to wait for the roster cuts, wait for waivers, and sign some of those guys to the practice squad. There's a lot at play here because, again, we're not making roster cuts after 1 week of preseason now.
No.
They have these players all until the end of the preseason. And that's why there's a lot to play for. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
My guy Rob, I don't know if you know Rob from the collectibles. He made me a nice shirt. You know Rob? I don't know if you know Rob, but
I don't know if I know him personally, but I'm pretty sure I've heard the name.
Yeah. When you probably saw him, and he make the jerseys and all that stuff. He want to know, have you heard anything about Goodwin?
So Marquise Goodwin, obviously, prayers for him and everything he's dealing with right now. He's dealt with a lot throughout his career, so really hope he's going to be okay. The Browns are hopeful he can play this year. The reality is we still don't know. It sounds like the treatment is going well. He's at training camp. He's basically been at everything team-related, so he's still really engaged. The Browns are hoping he can contribute, but let's say he can't. If Marquise Goodwin can't play, maybe he doesn't start the year. Mm-hmm. That opens up the opportunity for a guy like Jalen Darden to make the roster, who I really like Jalen Darden.
What I heard about him, not to cut you off, I heard he's a guy that he might not make the roster, but we don't want to lose him. That's like what you were just talking about. We're probably gonna cut and bring back to the practice squad, and we just hope nobody picks him up. But
yeah, I'm really hoping that it doesn't get to that point. I've even said in this. Some people think this is a little bold to say this, and I'll explain why I don't think it's bold. I think Jalen Darden actually will make this roster, and here's why. I love Jakeem Grant. His story is phenomenal. The fact this guy's trying to come back from another Achilles injury to play. the reality is this guy's over 30 years old, coming off a very severe injury. You have a guy who can do basically the same thing in the backfield. As a returner, Jalen Darden can do the exact same thing, and I believe he's only 24 years old. He already has chemistry with Deshaun Watson. He worked out a lot with Deshaun Watson in the offseason. To me, it makes sense. And again, I love Jakeem Grant. If they keep him, I'm not going to be upset. It just makes more sense at this point. Keep Jalen Darden, and unfortunately, let Jakeem Grant go. And I hate to say that, but I'm looking more of Jalen Darden could be that returner for the future, as opposed to Jakeem Grant doing it he's only on a contract for 1 year, and barely any of it's guaranteed. So,
what would you think? I'm gonna put my GM hat on. Mm-hmm. Now I'm gonna end up cutting Darden, put him on a practice squad, and for like 3 weeks, I'm gonna try Marquise Gutton. Oh my God, Akeem Grant. The special. Okay. The one thing, the plus that you said is with Darden, he can play wide receiver and do special teams. We only brought Mark. I keep forgetting his name. Just keep going off my head. Who Grant.
Jerome
Grant. Yeah, we only brought Akeem Grant in for special teams, and that's it. We didn't look at him to play no wide receiver because since Peoples-Jones did it last year or 2 years ago. But besides that, it's been a long time since Cribbs that we had any special teams play. So we really need somebody. So do you really want to take a risk on somebody, or do you want to take somebody that's proven? So if I'm the GM, I go about like 3 weeks and see what Akeem Grant can do. Is he really gonna be that guy? Is he almost there, about to break it? Then if he really ain't, be like, you know what, I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna bring the young bull up, and then let him get his crack at it.
So I get what you're saying. Jakeem Grant is proven. The thing that I would say more is keep in mind that kickoffs in the NFL, it doesn't happen much anymore. So who contributes more as a receiver, Jalen Darden or Jakeem Grant? And I think it's Jalen Darden. So that's another thing that I think works in his favor for him making that roster. Is I think he's a better suited wide receiver than Jakeem Grant. But also keep in mind with Jalen Darden, he's got a lot of experience returning kicks. He even when he was in Tampa Bay with Tom Brady, he wasn't playing a lot because that wide receiver room was stacked and nothing really he can do about it. But he was their return man in Tampa Bay while he was there. So he's got plenty of experience doing it. I'd rather go with the young guy personally. And again, I love Jakeem Grant. I really do. I love hearing stories like that when guys come back from multiple injuries and are able to perform. Yes. Or even get or don't retire, I would say. Because one thing I hate seeing players' careers ended with injury. And I really hope that's not the case health-wise with Marquise Goodwin as well, because this is like it's very serious. Blood clots are serious, and you just hope that he is. I just want him to be healthy. If he plays for the Browns, great. I hope he does. But I just want the man to be healthy. I want him to beat the blood clots, get past it, and not it be life-threatening for him. So, but yeah, now, to answer your question, I'm going with Jalen Darden.
But now. See, but the only reason I say that they might, he might have missed his chance last year, but they only brought him in for special teams. So they really want to do something with the special teams. Then you're talking about, because I'm not even looking at neither of them being as a wide receiver. Our wide receivers is deep. When is they going to ever get on the field?
This is the tough part. So there are always injuries every year. Also, the Browns are going to run now we're not going to see a lot of it tonight. I don't expect to see a lot of the new look offense tonight. You're going to see some of it, but you're going to run a lot more pistol. You're going to run a lot more shotgun. I expect the Browns to be in shotgun a lot this season. So what's that mean? You're going to be running a lot of 3, 4, 5 wide receiver sets. You need at least 6 guys. And this is why I'm more comfortable with Darden over Jakeem Grant, because he made a point. The Browns signed Jakeem Grant for special teams. When they brought him in last year, it's what they did. But with this new NFL kickoff rule, that kind of eliminates Jakeem Grant in a way. And it's unfortunate, but that kind of takes away what you brought Jakeem Grant in for. I mean, we'll still see some returns, but you're not going to see many. And I rather go with the guy that can contribute for me as a wide receiver. Now, some other of those wide receivers to watch, Dalen Baldwin is a name I would really watch because the Browns like him, or else he still wouldn't be on this roster after claiming him off waivers. And Alex Van Pelt, the offensive coordinator, really signaled that he's been impressed with him throughout training camp. Again, it's early, so you kind of have to take that stuff with a grain of salt and not like overreact to it. But they clearly like something with Dalen Baldwin. So that's another guy to watch. There's no guarantee Jalen Darden makes the roster, but I think if they're looking for somebody, especially as a returner, it would make a lot of sense to look at a younger guy like that.
Okay, we did you say you went to the camp? I didn't go. Did you go to the training camp?
So actually, funny enough, I was supposed to be there on Tuesday for work. I actually work for USA Football. That's my day job. So I was actually supposed to go for work, but unfortunately, I was not able to make it that day. I'm supposed to go August 20th, Sunday, August 20th. So hoping. I know that people were a little freaked out at how the offense looked, but I also, like we talked about on our show last night, you can't – it's for the defense. These guys aren't in pads. Like, I hear everyone freaking out, well, Jed Wills isn't stopping Myles Garrett. Okay, well, for the record, not many can stop Myles Garrett, but also Myles Garrett gets to go full speed, and Jed Wills these guys aren't in pads, so what is Jed Wills really supposed to do? And people are, when you share clips on Twitter, people are saying, well, Deshaun Watson would have been sacked there. Okay, like, they're going to still let him throw. They're going to let him make plays. The reality is the defensive line's been in the backfield almost every single play. That's how it looks when these guys aren't in pads. That's the way it is. I think as fans, and I'm guilty of it because I overhype a lot of things that I see because I get really excited too easily. But one thing we also do is we overreact to the bad. Like we automatically assume because Myles Garrett is getting the better of Jed Wills that Jed Wills is awful. Now I get it. Jed Wills needs to take a step forward this year. But it sounds like the entire defensive line is in the backfield and it's not just Myles Garrett. So that's signaling out one guy and really ignoring Wyatt Teller, ignoring Jack Conklin, ignoring some of these other veterans, and that's fine. But I just think as fans, sometimes we overreact to a lot of things we shouldn't. And like I said, I'm as guilty as anyone because I'm a big part of that when it comes to the positives. I'm the negative, but I'm trying to get better at tempering my expectations because I've learned the last couple of years I gotta temper. It's good to be excited, but you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself because it'll come back to bite you.
You think it is because we somewhat cool with everybody on our line, but our left tackle, Jeff Wills, I know everybody on the fence with. So anything he do wrong, we look, there you go. He tied his shoes wrong. So, I mean, you think we just don't believe in him. That's why everybody just picking on him.
I think a big part of it is we drafted this guy in the first round. We drafted him early. We're expecting production. Now, I have defended Jed Wills from the aspect that this is a guy you drafted during the COVID season, and you're moving him from right tackle to left tackle. And the Hall of Famer Joe Thomas has even said that is the toughest transition in the NFL to make, going from that side to the other because you have to completely redo all your technique. It's not easy whatsoever. He wasn't great as a rookie. Also, it's a COVID year. He was in and out of the lineup with injury. Second year, injury throughout his entire he had an ankle injury throughout that entire season. He was never 100%. So he didn't play well. And then last year, he was battling injury, and also he just didn't play well. But also, the whole thing, these guys are trying to learn two different offense, and the offensive line in general wasn't super great last year. Wyatt Teller was out in and out of the lineup. Jack Conklin got hurt.
We lost.
I'm not going to put it all in Jed. I'm just not. I need to see improvement, but I'm not going to blame the entire thing on him. But I do agree that we need to see improvement from him, or else he could be gone after this year. My prediction I assume you mean record prediction this year?
Yes. I
got 10-7.
10.
I think 10-7.
That's my lowest. I think we got 10 easy, but we can get more.
Listen, last year, even with the suspension, I predicted us to win 11 games. That was I should never have done that, and that's on me. I just think that start to the season, I think they're going to end up 3-2. And then you got 5, and then you have a West Coast road trip. You'll go at Denver. You'll go at LA. And again, on paper, at LA, you think, okay, that's no big deal. But still keep in mind, it's the NFL. Anybody can win. But also, you got a game week 17, I believe, at Houston with C.J. Stroud as their quarterback and D'Amico Ryan, who I think is going to be a fantastic head coach. You got that. Also, I see him saying, why so low? I'm trying to temper I think this team, if Deshaun Watson, and I said this on Sports for CLE Monday, Deshaun Watson, I believe, will return to form. And if he does, this team's winning 12 games, more than likely. There's so many other questions outside of Watson that this team has. Is the defense going to take that step? We have yet, I believe it will. But at the same time, I don't know that they will. Like, I have no guarantee. And by the way, if Jim Schwartz can't turn this defense around, there's nobody that can.
What part of the defense need to step up?
I need to see a good performance out of the defensive line. I think that's a given.
I think it's the linebackers.
Well, but here now, that's my second one. But this is why I say the defensive line. The Browns' run defense was historically bad last year. The linebackers aren't going to play well. Now, mind you had 5 season-ending injuries at linebacker. That also didn't help. But keep in mind, for a linebacker to be successful, your defensive tackles have to be keeping their blocks. They have to be able to attract more than one blocker. If you're letting these guards and even tackles sometimes, center, get to that second level, you're in trouble.
Get their hands on you.
And that's the only reason I don't say the linebackers, because that defensive tackle group was so poor. It has to improve, absolutely has to improve. And I have to see that. If that defensive tackle group doesn't improve, doesn't matter if you add Zadarius Smith, doesn't matter if you added Juan Thornhill, it doesn't matter who you add to this roster. If your defensive tackle group is at the level it was last year, your defense is not going to be that much better, regardless of whoever is calling it.
Yeah. So I mean, now my guy. Now I'm not to go back on Marquise Goodwin.
Mm-hmm.
Who with him getting hurt, you saying that he saved Darwin's job. I think he saved somebody else's job. And I think somebody else that was going to get cut, that we all want to get cut, is finally starting to get some balls, and this is his chance to make the ball club. Who is that?
I know who it is, and this is what pains me. It's Anthony Schwartz.
Yes.
Listen. I'm going to say it on your show because I say it enough on my show. The only job Anthony Schwartz should be having is working at McDonald's, flipping me a burger. That man can't catch a football to save his life. But on a real note with Schwartz, the best thing for him is to get cut and then go to like the USFL or XFL. He's only 22. He's a very young player. I think it's too much for him. He came from Auburn. Auburn didn't use him very well at all. And this guy was an Olympic track runner. That's what he was. He's not a football player. That's the problem. But I'll say this. I do think Schwartz gets cut regardless of Goodwin. But I do think what they want to do, and I get why because they want to do this with a lot of guys that they draft. They're probably going to want to stash him on the practice squad. More than likely. Is what I would say with Schwartz.
But who has the speed that we have for Goodwin? We had a package for Goodwin, and him going down, that hurt. Who else
Correct.
Who else can fill that role?
Elijah Moore has 4.4 speed. I know that Jalen Darden runs a 4.4. Jalen Darden's got speed. He hasn't been used a lot. I mean, again, keep in mind Tampa Bay, the guy didn't play. I mean, you had Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Tyler Johnson at the time. Tyler Johnson, they had him. Jalen Darden was your fifth guy normally, and he didn't see the field very often because they also had Gronk on that team. So Gronk wasn't coming off the field.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. I think Darden can be that guy. I also think when you have all those roster cuts, that's when they can address that too.
We got
a speedster gets released.
Corners. Do you think we got depth at corners?
We have more depth at corner than we have depth anywhere else. You have Denzel Ward.
Besides wide receiver.
Possibly. I love the corners. I mean, Greg Newsome the second.
Too, but we got I believe I could put my wide receivers up against anybody. Corners, they second.
That's fair. Okay, I can roll with that. Yeah. I mean, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, Martin Emerson Jr., that trio is will be the best in the league this year.
Who's on the opposite side of Ward? Who you got on
Martin
the side?
Emerson Jr.
You putting Emerson?
You have to because of his size. You got to take advantage of that size on the outside.
Over Newsome?
Yeah, Newsome in the slot. I'd put Newsome in the slot, but I would switch those looks up a lot. And I expect Cam Mitchell, the rookie out of Northwestern. I want to see how he looks. He had a pick 6 the other day in training camp. Want to see how he looks tonight. I want to see A.J. Green. The Browns love A.J. Green. Yeah, I want to see how he looks. The Browns have a lot of depth at corner. They really do.
I still think Newsome going to be on the side. I think Emerson is going to be in a slot. I think he's going to – that's how the season is going to start. I don't know how it's going to end. But they're gonna, but I think them two, they're going to switch a lot. Even they might even, I believe, because Emerson played good when Denzel Ward went down. He killed it on that side. He killed it really on that side. So we might even see Denzel in this because he like to travel. He want to. What you think about Denzel? That's my guy.
I'm a Denzel Ward fan. I bought his jersey last year, so to see him like really struggle kind of hurt. I'm a Buckeye fan too, so I root for all my Buckeyes, regardless of how good they are, poor they are, whatever. I'm a huge Denzel Ward fan. I think scheme had a lot to do with the type of player, and everyone can say, well, he was in the same scheme before. There was something last year, like this entire secondary was just basically not a fan of anything, and they pretty much implied it when they were asked questions about the defense. I expect Denzel Ward to have a bounce-back season. I know he's injury-prone. So is Greg Newsome's had injuries. I'm very confident in a bounce-back season from Denzel Ward. And I think when he's healthy, Denzel Ward is a top 10 corner. I do.
Okay. Now, that's my guy. I call him Mr. Shutdown 2. Joe Hayden was the Shutdown 1. It's Mr. Shutdown 2. But that's my guy. He's going to have to get a little bit better. Now, you said he's top 10. Where do you put Elijah Moore? And out of all these corners, I mean wide receivers out there.
Elijah Moore, right now he's in the top 50. You need to see. The only reason he's not higher is because you haven't seen a lot of him.
No. I was just gonna say. So you say in the top 50, then you said Denzel Ward is in the top 10, but Elijah Moore been lighting Denzel up.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. I'm talking from what he's proven on an NFL stage so far. Zach Wilson nearly ruined this man's career. So
he's a beast. I keep hyping him up.
I'm telling you, I'm buying an Elijah Moore jersey whenever they become available, and I am still I have been waiting for that day for a long time. Still not available. But
I think he's going to be a fantasy steal.
I do too. I'm a huge Elijah Moore fan. I think by the end of the year, you're talking about a guy that I think he'll come close to 1,000. It's so hard to have 2,000-yard receivers, regardless of how good they are. Amari Cooper. Yeah. I don't know if I can't think if the Browns ever did that, but anyway.
We did it with OBJ and OBJ.
Oh, we did do it. We did it with under Freddie Kitchens. Okay,
yeah,
we did do it.
Juice. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had 2,000-yard wide receivers and we had 1,000-yard rusher. Yep.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. I completely forgot about that one. That season was just after all the expectations and to completely just lay an egg like that was awful. But, I mean, it can happen. I think Elijah Moore over 1,000 yards, about 5 touchdowns. I think that's pretty reasonable. He's going to get the ball in a variety of ways for this offense. We've already seen it in training camp. They're giving him handoffs. He's taking a speed option from Deshaun Watson. He's catching passes out of the backfield. He's obviously running routes as a receiver. And they're using him in the return game. So this guy's going to play everywhere.
Oh yeah. So now one thing when you said that made me think about, so who do you have at, what you think about Ford? Did we talk about Ford and Demetri Felton?
We talked about Felton because he has a big opportunity tonight. Yeah. Jerome Ford, I need to see more just because, again, I haven't seen a lot. I have nothing against Jerome Ford. I've always been under the thought that we need to add another running back just because of the uncertainty of Ford. But it's pretty apparent that the Browns love Jerome Ford. And you know what? If they do, if Nick Chubb believes in this guy, because it sounds like Nick Chubb is a fan of Jerome Ford too, I'm on board. I just need to see him play more.
Rob, you say what size? What we talking about?
But yeah, what size?
Yeah, me personally, some people like Ford, some people like Felton. I think we should have went and got somebody. I don't know. I got to say more proven, but I don't know. We should have. That could come back to hurt us. I don't know.
I agree.
I don't know, but we still got Chubbs. I mean, not Chubbs, Hunt out there. I don't think he signed nobody, but
yeah.
But okay, so so now let's get back into tonight. So you think we're just going on offense and defense? We're just gonna have like vanilla offense and defense. They're not really gonna show no scheme. You ain't looking to see anything like that.
You might see a little with Kellen Mond because it's opening the game. I think when we get later in the game, you won't. Rob, my size would be an extra large.
Extra large. He got that Elijah Moore for you. That's the man. That's the man.
That dude's awesome. But no, for real. Like I don't expect a lot. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong. And the Browns line up the first play in pistol. I just don't expect to really see it. Like I expect to see it when Deshaun Watson takes the field next week. Not next, whenever we play. I believe it's next Saturday. That's when I expect the Browns to show something. And even again, I don't expect to see a lot. But the thing is, you need to get reps in this. This is a new offense. You have to do it. And Rob, I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much.
That's my guy.
I appreciate you, Rob. I really do. But I don't know if any fan can expect that much. The thing is, though, when you're learning new schemes, you can't just not run them.
Oh yeah.
Listen, I get it. You don't want to tip your hand. You also got to run it. You also got to use it in a game. So I don't know to be honest with you, I don't know what we're going to see tonight. Maybe a little, but not much. Kevin Stefanski's not going to show much. I also don't know if Kevin Stefanski's even calling the plays because we are in the preseason. If you recall, Alex Van Pelt has called plays in the preseason. So something else to watch there.
But what do you think about just Stefanski calling plays, period? What's your take on that?
My take is that I think he has done a good job given the circumstances since he has become head coach of the Browns. Because his first year, Baker Mayfield had a career season. Okay. Baker's never going to post better stats than that at any point in his career.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the second year, Baker Mayfield busts his shoulder. Now, whether you agree he should have been playing, shouldn't have been playing, whatever, Stefanski should have made that call. Whatever you think. Given the circumstances, Stefanski did basically all he could because he had a quarterback with one shoulder. Mm-hmm. Last year, given Jacoby Brissett had some of the best numbers in his career because of Kevin Stefanski. When Deshaun Watson took over, Kevin Stefanski was tied because he had this offense for Deshaun that he's trying to implement, and you saw it against Houston, and you saw it against Cincinnati. A little bit of read option, a little bit of RPO. It was terrible. And the reason why, because you're trying to run a brand new offense in the span of a couple weeks, trying to implement a new offense. And it's just, That's difficult for anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's Kyle Shanahan calling the plays. So I'm a Stefanski fan. Yeah. I'm serious. I'm a Stefanski fan. He has dealt with very difficult circumstances. Now, is he on the hot seat? I think he is. You need to get this team to the playoffs. You do. Now, let's say the Browns, though, win 10 games and they just miss the playoffs. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, no,
I don't think.
Not with 10 wins.
So I would just keep that in mind. And if you see Deshaun Watson get back to form, even if they don't make the playoffs, that he's keeping his job. If Deshaun Watson's going to bat for Kevin Stefanski, you know what? Kevin Stefanski's keeping his job.
Yeah. I don't mind his play calling, his situational play calling. I don't like. So when
that's
the game's
fair.
on the line, sometimes third and fourth downs, I don't know what he be thinking. I sometimes when a game, I don't know what he be thinking. I don't know what he was thinking when he used to take the on the coin flip. We're gonna take the ball first. Who takes the ball? I'm like, who does the things that he does? And my only thing about him is, yes, he was a rookie head coach. He got to improve, and I really haven't seen really too much improvement when we need him. That's my thing.
This is what those concerns are all valid, but here's what I'll raise to that. There is no perfect play caller by any means. Kyle Shanahan might be the closest thing to it. Andy Reid, they even still make boneheaded decisions. It's NFL play callers in a nutshell. Like, everyone wants Alex. So last year, people were like, Alex Van Pelt should call plays. Based off what have you seen that Alex Van Pelt is good enough to call plays for the Browns? Besides seeing something in a playoff game, the COVID year, where I think everything just went right for the Browns all the way around. But also, he's called some preseason games. Like, what have you guys seen out of Van Pelt that not you, just fans? What have we seen out of Van Pelt that qualifies this guy to call plays when he's never been a play caller at any point in his NFL career? That's my thing.
I give you that. But I believe when he start calling plays on 4th and inches or 4th and goal line, he's not going to take Chubb out the game.
I would agree with that. I don't think that's going to happen at all this year anyway. Now, listen, I will say, having Kareem Hunt, I always believe Nick Chubb should be in, but when they had Kareem Hunt here, I feel like the reason Stefanski did what he did with Hunt is he felt like he had to get him touches. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes he overcompensated for that by giving Hunt the ball or having Hunt in the game when he should have had Nick Chubb in the game.
And that's when I say situations, I'm talking about like that. I believe he's a coach that can take this team to the playoffs, but I don't know if he's a coach that could take us to the Super Bowl, because you can't make those bonehead plays to get us to the Super Bowl, because you can have two even teams, but people don't realize that coach plays a part in it. So now if you get out coached, the other team's coach out-coach you, then you lose. We need a coach that's going to out-coach the other one. You can't do dumb things like that. You can't be on the other side on the 20-yard line, 4th and 5. Now we're going to go for it.
Now, let me tell you this, though. Before Kevin Stefanski got here, what Browns head coach was having a winning record in the division?
I mean, we ain't had a winning record anywhere.
But that's what I'm saying, though. He has since he has became head coach of the Browns, he has a winning record in the AFC North. That we haven't, like you said, we haven't seen that. That's incredible. And
no, I give him that. I don't. That all that's fine and dandy and cute. But like I said, when the game's on the line in certain situations, I just need him to be a better coach. You got fair. And you saying, when has we ever had a winning record in the division? Until Dorsey and AB got there, when has we ever had a good team?
Exactly.
Both of them, them have been the best GMs we had probably ever. But since Bernie and we had all those, you got to go back 20, 30 years just to find a solid team. We usually get people when they 65 years old. Now we get people. We back in the day, we never would have got an Odell. We never would have got a Watson. We probably never would have drafted somebody like Myles Garrett and all these people that we bringing in, Elijah Moore that we both love. I mean, we would never get no guys like that.
Correct. I agree. I also agree with Rob. Players have to execute those plays too. 100%.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, the player because he's the Stefanski guy. So
no, but I would say that regardless of who was calling plays, though, like that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, no. The players gotta execute, but you gotta put the best players out there, and that's my only thing. Like I say, mine is the forfeit inches or 30 inches when you take Kareem Hunt out and you take Chubbs out and put Kareem Hunt in. That just to me that's just uncalled for. There's 31 other coaches, and none of them would do nothing like that but ours. That's my thing. You got the best running back, and you taking Kevin Mack out to put Eric Metcalf in to get you 1 yard. Come on, man. You don't get the things you don't do.
Exactly. No, I agree with that. I was always mad when he took out Nick Chubb too, so I get it. That I understand.
Yeah. So okay. What now safeties? Who do you think just going? What do you think about Delpit? I have a hard time liking him.
I like Grant Delpit. I think he's been in some difficult circumstances. I mean, keep in mind when he was drafted, he ruptured his Achilles in training camp. That was awful. So right there, you're behind the 8 ball with your career. His second year was essentially his rookie year, coming off an Achilles injury. Didn't play very well. Understandably so. It takes you about a full year before you're even once you play a full year to even be 100% after that. Last year, very inconsistent. But in his defense, that entire secondary outside of Martin Emerson Jr. was incredibly inconsistent.
Yeah.
But what you did see, you saw the flashes of a playmaker in the secondary. I mean, tied for 8th in interceptions in the NFL. I don't remember last time we had a Browns player do that. And I like what I see from him. I think he can take that next step forward. But he's playing for a contract either with the Browns or somewhere else because he's in the last year of his rookie deal. So he's going to have a chip. I mean, everyone should always have a chip on your shoulder if you're an NFL athlete. If you don't, then really you shouldn't just be playing the sport anyway. But he has that now. He needs to go earn a contract. I think he's going to have a big year. I really do. I've been critical of him in the past, but I also have taken the time to take a step back and realize everything he's been through because it's a lot. I mean, he has dealt with a lot in his career, and this year, basically, I would say is his second year as an NFL player. Even though it's year 4 technically for him, this is his second year. The year after the Achilles, I didn't count because it just wasn't going to be pretty. That was his rookie year, coming off a serious injury. And so I considered the last year to be his first full year, and now this is his second season.
When I like I said, I wasn't feeling him, but then I started doing the stats on him and looking at him. I said, okay, he's pretty good. Then our safeties and our corners, they were just with the past defensive coordinator where his scheme was just so difficult and hard for them to figure out who gonna grab the man. That's why we kept getting beat deep because they don't know if the corner gonna stick with the guy or do they supposed to. It was just a bad scheme that we was running last year. So I'm gonna check him out this year. Now the other guy I need to check out. I'm not feeling either is Anthony Walker. What you think about him being our starter, the middle linebacker?
I'm a fan of Anthony Walker. The biggest thing is health. But one thing I will tell you, he's a leader of this team. He is a leader of this defense, and there's a reason why they wanted to bring him back. He's not going to be the most talented guy, but he is a vocal leader. He is a veteran leader, and you need guys like that in your football team. He cost you the veteran minimum, and I'm all for it. I hope he comes back healthy, and if he does, it's going to only help him. If Dalvin Tomlinson, the defensive tackles, do their job this year, you're going to see, and Anthony Walker stays healthy, you'll probably see the best year of his career, is what I would say. I'm a big Anthony Walker fan, and I love that they brought him back. He's just another voice. You need veteran voices on each side of the ball. They have it on offense, not only with Deshaun Watson, Amari Cooper, Chubb. You have that with Teller, Batonio, Conklin. Like, you have plenty of them on offense. On defense, you have Garrett. You got Dalvin Tomlinson now, Zadarius Smith. Anthony Walker Jr., Rodney McLeod, Juan Thorne. Like, you got guys like that on that side of the ball now. You need to keep that group together. And so I'm glad they brought him back for a cheap
Since you
deal.
brought that up, I'm a ask you a question because I heard what you said. Don't mean I'm going to agree with what you said, but I heard what you said. So you said we got voices. But for me, on teams that go far, they got leaders on offense and defense. Do you believe we have a leader on offense, and do you believe we have a leader on defense, and who are they?
The leader on offense is Deshaun Watson. I think that is very apparent. He has taken a huge leadership role this offseason, and it's easy to tell. He is the leader of that offense. I argue he's the leader of the entire team. He is the voice of the entire roster. On the defensive side of the ball, I do believe, contrary to what others will say, I believe it's Myles Garrett. I really do. Myles Garrett is that guy for defense.
You believe Myles is? Do you believe he's been doing that, or you just believe that he's going to do it this year?
I do. No, I believe he's been doing that. I do. We don't know what goes on in the locker room.
I was wondering out there on the field.
No, for real though. We can only just assume. Like, and everyone questions his leadership. There's also plenty of video of him staying after practice, teaching younger guys that no one wants to talk about. They only want to focus on maybe like, well, this happened on defense. Perrion Winfrey, this guy got himself kicked off. Why isn't Myles taking a leadership role and trying to mentor him? When in reality, Myles Garrett was asked about that and said he is always going to love Perrion and he's supported him through everything. And even though he's not on the Browns, he's still going to try and mentor him as much as possible. You don't hear about that, though, because it doesn't make the headlines.
It ain't clickbait.
Like, the only thing that makes the headlines is slamming your star players.
Yeah. Okay. Then we had a question. Where do you rank the Browns in this division this year?
Second.
Who?
Yep.
Behind Cincinnati.
Behind Cincinnati, it's close between Browns and Baltimore because getting Lamar back, regardless of how much talent is around him, it's Lamar Jackson. I have Baltimore third, Pittsburgh fourth, but you can't sleep on Pittsburgh. You can't.
You never can.
Always find a way to be there.
Never had a losing record with Tomlin. Now, have you heard anything about Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow is probably going to be out about 4 to 5 weeks since he sustained that calf injury. And I would put a good amount of money he's playing week 1. Everyone's trying to say, like, they looked at the betting lines and it showed that the Browns then were favored after the injury or whatnot. I wouldn't read too much into that. I think Joe Burrow's playing week 1. If he doesn't, I would actually be very surprised. The only reason he wouldn't is if the Bengals truly don't think he's 100%. Because if he's not 100%, I don't think they're going to play him because it's week 1. There's no reason to risk your star quarterback for one game at the beginning of the year. But I expect him to play. I want him to play week 1.
You saw these reports? Because I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
I've been thinking they've been keeping it hush-hush. I haven't seen nothing.
They said it's probably a grade 2 calf strain, which is normally about 4 to 6 weeks. So I'm putting it about the 5-week timetable.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about our Hall of Famer, Joe Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you rank him at left tackles? Where as all time? Where he rank at into you?
All time. Well, real quick, I'm gonna get something down to show you. Speaking of our Hall of Fame left tackle, my wife is the real MVP. She went to Amish country one day and just found this at a store.
Wow.
$30 that cost. That's it.
Wow.
$30. So
wow.
Yeah, my wife is truly the MVP. But to just Joe Thomas in general, among NFL left tackles, he truly is one of the greatest. And not only is that's not being biased, it's just look at the number of consecutive snaps he played in his career. That'll never be broken.
Never.
It won't. And
is it close? Nobody never talked about. You say it's close. So I don't.
No, let me look because I don't
never talk about it. I don't think it's close.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, Joe Thomas has the unofficial record. I honestly don't think anybody will be close to it. It's kind of like, so I would compare this to the record that Cal Ripken Jr. set for most baseball games played in a row. That'll never be broken either. This is very similar. I don't even know if there's. I can't even find it, but I know that he has it by a lot.
Yeah, but his record, I think his record people forget is about. They say most games played in a row, but it's most starts. It's not that like, but it's just the starts. He started a game. Now he might not have finished them all, but he started every game.
Correct. It also but the most snaps just too. Like throughout his entire career, we'll never have another player like Joe Thomas. And I mean, obviously he's a Hall of Famer. Also, Rob, I'd love to hear that. And it's funny, no one talked about that whatsoever. So it's amazing. Listen, I consider myself somewhat part of the media. Just in the podcasting field, you kind of are like that, especially like when you go on shows and whatnot. But one thing that we fail to do, I would say a lot, like people that cover the team, report good things. You don't always have to report the negative. You're allowed to report the positive that a player does. And that's something that Myles Garrett does, is he does a lot, but you focus on the I've never understood a city that wants to slam your star players. Never understood it whatsoever.
Yeah.
But going back to Joe Thomas real quick, because I know the Hall of Fame game is about to start. Going back to Joe Thomas, though, there'll never be another Cleveland Brown like him. He is the Hall of Famer, Joe Thomas, which is awesome to say. He's also, you just have to admire the fact he stayed with the Browns. He could have this guy could have asked for a trade at any single time in his career. He played on the worst teams in Cleveland Browns history. What did he do? Suited up every single game. Every single game. And
I can't remember. I had to cut you off. I can't remember, but I don't know. At the end, they was trying to get him to go somewhere, and he like, no, I'm staying here.
Denver.
Yeah.
If he would have now, and here's what's important to know about that: if he doesn't go to if he goes to Denver, he wins the Super Bowl that year, because that's the year they won the Super Bowl.
Wow. Yeah.
So Joe Thomas stayed with the Browns through everything, and he's even talked about that before. He stayed with the Browns because this was home for him, and he built a home. And I completely agree with Tina. Like, you don't see it very often anymore. You don't see players stay with a team their entire career. And part of that is not necessarily on the player. That's also on the team to make that happen. It's a two-way street. But Joe Thomas is a great story. And it's the fact that he gets honored tonight in front of everyone in Canton. It's so fitting. And, I wish he'd come out of retirement, because he retired too early, in my opinion. We really could.
Not after he lost all that weight. I don't think he's gonna be able to hold up.
No, listen, I get it. It's just, it's sad. Like, you miss guys like that, but at the same time, you got to celebrate the greatness. And even though, I was in grade school when he got drafted by the Browns, I didn't really know football like I do now at the time, so I was like, a left tackle, big whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
But you think now, it's just incredible what he's been able to accomplish in his career, and it's awesome that he is a big part of the Browns organization even after he retires. He's a huge part of it, and I just love seeing that, because I think what's really important is, even once your players are retired, your legends, you need to keep them as part of your organization. And I think, like, people aren't huge fans of the Haslams, and I can understand that, but one thing they do, they keep the legends close to the team. Josh Cribbs is involved with the Browns. Joe Thomas is involved with the Browns. Jim Brown was involved. Eric Metcalf, Bernie. Well, the Bernie Kosar, that's a whole other situation. Just with
they try.
They're trying to get him back, but bringing Bernie, just doing that. Kevin Matt, they bring legends around all the time, and that's what you need to do. And I love the fact that the Browns do that, because that's how everybody should be. Every NFL team should honor their legends and keep their legends as part of the team, as part of the organization, even after they're gone, because fans really appreciate that.
Okay, two more things, and I'm gonna get you out of here so we all can go watch this game. Now, not being a homer, do you believe that Clay Matthews is a Hall of Famer?
Yes,
Okay. Now,
I do,
not being,
because there are guys in the Hall of Fame for less.
oh no, I mean I believe he's a Hall of Famer. I'm just asking.
No, I know. That's why I'm explaining it that way. There are guys that are in the Hall of Fame for less, and I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame if you're going to put some of these other guys in there.
Okay, now my guy, everybody laugh at. I believe in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
He should be in the Hall of Fame. My bad. You wearing his shirt?
I am.
Bernie Kosar. Why
Bernie should be in.
Bernie?
I don't know. You know what? I don't know why he never got in, and unfortunately, he was before my time period. Like I can only go off what highlights I saw.
Mm-hmm.
What's awesome is Bernie follows me on Twitter, which
nice.
that's still crazy to this day that he does. I've tried to DM. I also don't know how tech savvy he is, which is nothing wrong with that. But I've reached out a couple times. But anyway, I do agree he should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know why he's not. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that time has passed. Like he wouldn't even be considered anymore. But it is what it is. I agree with you though. He should be in the Hall of Fame. I wish he was. He's still a legend regardless.
Yes. I mean, he was the last QB good QB we had was Bernie.
Exactly.
That's sad, but that's the truth.
Exactly.
Okay, now before we get out of here, we help each other out. So I want you to I got your tag going at the bottom. Tell everybody who you are and where to find you at.
Yeah. You guys can find my name's Tyler Johnson. You can find me on Twitter. It's right there for you guys. It's at T_Johnson_TJ on Twitter. I love interacting with fans on there. I post a lot on there. Browns, Buckeyes, you name it, pretty much all Ohio sports teams besides the Bengals because they're disgusting. But anyway, you guys can watch the Faithful Dogs podcast. That is Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock on the Network 216 YouTube channel. But also, I host an Ohio State show. If any of you guys are Ohio State fans, that show kicks off Monday night at 7 o'clock. And that is also on the Network 216 YouTube channel. But also, I do post on Twitter and on Facebook when I make guest appearances on Sports for CLE, which is a part of Cleveland.com. So you guys feel free to check all that out. I constantly am interacting with people on Twitter. I'm sharing videos and stuff like that on Facebook when we get them. Always posting clips, always interacting, always want to build good discussions. So yeah, feel free to come on over, enjoy some of the content we have. But I really appreciate the time that you guys gave us tonight, and I appreciate the opportunity to come on the show tonight. It's been a blast, and always happy to come back and talk Browns.
Yes, sir. I thank you.
Anytime. It's my pleasure. I look at this as I have an opportunity to talk football, and I've only been doing what's crazy. I've been podcasting for 3 years. That's it. I'm 27 years old. I didn't think I'd be doing podcasting in my spare time, basically. Yes. And maybe one day I'll do it as a living for all I know. But I really enjoy it, and I'm just thankful for the opportunity. Anytime I can go on someone's show, always thankful for the opportunity.
Yes. Well, I just want to thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, seriously. Anytime, as long as I get a heads up, I'll always try and make time for it.
Oh yeah. Hey, like I said, I watch your podcast. I looked up to you. I threw a shot in the dart. I went in. I slid in your DMs. I'm like, hey, let me see.
Love it.
Get this guy on, and he responded. So y'all,
listen.
Y'all got y'all own podcast or doing anything, hit him up. He will write you back. Bernie's not, seriously, but he will write you back.
Hey, still love Bernie. It's funny you mentioned the DMs because not only did we get this awesome show tonight, but the DMs is also how I met my wife. So you know what?
Nice.
Good things. Hey, good things happen in the DMs. Always remember that.
Did you slide in hers or she slid in yours?
Oh, I slid in hers. No shame in admitting that.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. But this is your boy Thorough. That's my dog, Tyler. And this was the My Dogs Podcast. And I thank y'all for watching. Go watch that game. Go Browns.
Go Browns, baby.